All right. As far as injuries go, Juju's sick today, so he won't be there. McKinnon has a hamstring strain. He won't practice today. And then Tony is getting better, but won't practice today. Everybody else will be out there rolling. Look forward to the challenge of playing Cincinnati. We know they're a heck of a football team. And we'll start today getting ready for them. So it'd be good to get on the practice field. With that, time's yours.
Coach, I know you try to put games away from the past, but you guys had a couple of tough ones against them last year. A few months ago, I remember Chris talking about it. These are the kind of games that drove him in the offseason. Does it drive you when you play a team like this again with last year?
Well, it was the last game of the year, so I mean you remember the game, and they did some good things, against us, and so I'm not saying it drives you, but you go back and you evaluate the game, yeah.
What do you see differently out of last year? I mean, Jamar Chase maybe plays this weekend, but what do you see differently that they've done this year as opposed to when you played them twice last year?
Yeah, well, they're doing a good job. I mean, it's kind of the same stuff they've been doing. They've got most of their guys back. They're playing at a high level. The games that they have lost, they lost just by a few points, with the exception of the Browns. And but it's very, very similar. Good, solid football, both sides of the ball and special teams.
And when you look back at last year, how the second half kind of, I wouldn't say confused you, but took you for a loop, if you will. But how much did you learn from that game that you took into this year, knowing like the lessons learned from that game? How much could you take into this year, knowing that the defense they played was something that kind of caught you off guard? You've been able to do very successful against this year.
Yeah, and they played the first half too, so a bit, but they did a good job with it. I mean, that's what they did. They dropped 8 and played man coverage and had a thief player rolling around in there, and they executed well, better than how we did. We didn't do very well with it, so they got us. But we've worked on it. I'm sure they've worked on new things, and we'll see how it goes.
And there were guys before and after the Tampa Bay game that made it very clear how much what happened in the previous game motivated them for that contest. Similar opportunity, obviously, this Sunday. How do you manage when guys are already motivated because of the previous game, but not trying to lose sight of how things may change in this matchup?
Yeah. So I mean, again, it was the last game, so you love to have an opportunity to play them and do better than what we did. I mean, that's for sure. If something motivates you, that's kind of it. But you also know you got to play within yourself and do the things that you know are right, and be able to don't get so high that you can't execute. So that's the trick there.
Andy, Patrick said that he mentioned, or I guess it was just after Sunday's game, he mentioned that his lesson from that game was to close out games. I'm wondering if throughout a season you use a game like that and sort of remind the guys of something like that.
Yeah, well, each one of these things is a learning lesson, right? Win or lose. You come out, you spend all these hours dissecting what you could have done better. And it doesn't matter the game. So you're taking lessons out of each game. This one was, for Pat, that's what it was, what he said. So, but everybody's got that. Chris said, I missed a sack. Bolton said he had 2 interceptions that he dropped. I look in the mirror and I go, there were some calls I would have liked to have had back. I mean, so everybody has that. As long as they're willing to admit it, you have a chance to get better, and that's kind of the thing you try to do.
Coach, catching the ball has always been, with your running backs. And you said one time, if you're going to be a running back on this team, you got to catch the ball. We hadn't really seen that out of Pacheco. We saw it this week. I mean, he's a young guy, right? Obviously, It's a work in progress, but how's that coming along, and how satisfying was it to see him, make an impact with that?
Yeah, so I mean, he's got really good hands. He just hasn't had that ton of opportunity, but he will. As time goes on here, he'll get more opportunities to catch the ball. He did a nice job on that one for sure.
You and Eric talked about, like, having patience, you know, we can see how hard he wants to hit the hole, but maybe he needs to be a little more read what's going on. Is that magnified even more in the passing game with some of the option routes and different ways you guys do things, that wherever he is as a runner, maybe he's even that much further back as a receiver?
No, he's done good with that. He actually does well with the routes and his patience on that. The running is getting better. I mean, he's getting better at that. He is extreme. He's got some kind of energy now. I mean, if I had that energy, I'd be 110 pounds. I mean, I want to borrow something. So he's unbelievable that way, how he plays, and he's that way every day. I mean, that's how he's out of practice and everything else. He's got quite a motor.
Running backs. Melvin Gordon signed to the practice squad. When you sign a former two-time Pro Bowler to the practice squad, what are you hoping to get out of him as down the stretch of the season?
Yeah, well, we'll just see. I mean, that's kind of the way we explain it to him. We'll see where this thing goes and where he's at and where the running back situation goes. But he sure has been a heck of a player in the league. I mean, one thing we do know is we know him, and whether he's with the Chargers or with Denver. So we know what kind of player he is, and so maybe there's a time here he can help us too. So we'll take all comers. If you had some game left in you, we'd bring you over, Herbie. Yeah, I'm saying. Yeah, we'd bring you over. Yeah.
Coach, you briefly mentioned the Chris Jones almost sack, and maybe that's the biggest difference defensively for you guys this year. You've exceeded the sack total. Just how much confidence can that give you going into a game where you're getting home this year?
Yeah, we've done better in that area, finishing sacks. This kid is unique that we're playing. I mean, he's strong in the pocket, and so it presents another challenge. And, our guys will work on that this week and make sure that they have a plan for that.
Couple more guys.
Andy, you also added Brandon Williams to the practice squad,
Yes.
or going to. Was there a need for a player like that, or did you guys just see a good player and say, let's bring him in?
Yeah, good. I'd tell you, a good player. He and Joe Cullen have history, so Joe speaks very highly of him, and still thinks he can contribute. So he's been doing it a long time, but we welcome that. He's a great kid and a good football player.
We'll go last, third goes to Ren, then we'll come this way.
Coach, Patrick obviously welcomed a new addition to the family. I know it's not his first. That's famous who've had kids. No, the first one's the big jolt, right? So he's probably a little more prepared for it. But does that take away, preparation time with all that going on?
Yeah, no, he stays pretty focused on job at hand. He's got a great wife that gets all that. She was an athlete too. So, but bronze, I love it. Bronze. Patrick Mahomes the third, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's good. So bronze, I think, is in good hands, and the players all got on Patrick that, if they play long enough, they'll have another quarterback here.
Last two.
Little news yesterday, you guys got flexed out of prime time to earlier in the day next week against Denver. Probably doesn't break your heart to get home a little earlier and get some prep work on. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I was okay with it. Yeah, I was okay. I have no decision-making part of that, but or for that, but I'll take it.
Last one, Sam.
And sorry to bring up the Cincinnati thing again, but when the game is the last game of the year, I guess you don't have the full next week to sort of go over the things you're mentioning. So does it pop up this year, or do you just assume that the lesson was ingrained last year?
Yeah, you're saying with the players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just with you talking to the players, anything of that nature.
Yeah, well, I come in and look at the tape, and then I talk to them, before they leave. Most of them saw it too, somewhere there, either on the plane ride back or soon after that with these iPads. I mean, they all have them. So, but we talked about it. Yeah, it was open conversation about it, and we knew what we needed to do to better ourselves for that situation. I mean, every game's different, so we're going into this same team, but they'll have something different for us. But yeah, but if you use it to get better, then that's the objective. A lot of guys weren't here, so they just watch the tape and see what we did.
All right.
Okay? Yep.
All right.